Hello Libras, and welcome to your August 2021 mid-month check-in. Be sure to check out your sun, moon, and rising for a more well-rounded, generalized perspective. And if you're interested in something that's more personal to you and your situation, be sure to check out the description box below for links to my Etsy and website. All right, let's go ahead and begin. And the first card that we are starting out with is Heaven Sent, and I'm getting told you've received a message recently from some sort of guardian or spirit guide. I'm feeling like this has come through in a dream. The message and the presentation of it has been through a dream, and I would say that if it feels unsettled, there's an overarching sentiment of slightly unsettled, but unsettled because of how intense it was. So not that the experience itself was unsettling as much as the intensity and just the takeaway. Like, you've been a bit unsettled because you've experienced this, and it's been something that you've not experienced, at least in this way, ever before. So that's the overall sense that I'm getting as far as the unsettling aspect of it is. But overall, you've received messages in some format, and some of it feels, for some of you, it's been a guardian of some sort, and for others of you, it has been a guide, and some of you, the guardian and guide is the same entity. But this is something that you have to figure out on your own as far as whether it's guard, guide, or both. But overall, you've had a sort of experience that either had a visitation and or a message. And it feels very connected to a dream. And a select few of you, it was a dreamlike experience when you were in a meditative state. The bulk of you, it feels like it was actually a dream. Some of you is experienced while lucid dreaming, whether you were actively participating in the lucid dreaming or just sort of spontaneously happened. But there's a few of you, because of your spiritual practice and how you already participate in spiritual direction, path, occult type things, you were in a very deep meditative state, and while you were in that state, you had a dream-like experience. But this is how the message came through. All in all, for those of you who are visiting this particular channel, this particular video, there's an overall message of being visited and channeling a message or receiving a message from a guard and or guide. And this is just a bit of a validation, because it's one of those things where it happened, and so then there's that moment where you're trying to come to terms with the experience, what it is that you're supposed to get from it, what it is that you're supposed to know, and whether or not you're supposed to take it or leave it. And so this is just letting you know that those questions, as far as whether or not it was a real experience or if it's something that you should give any sort of credence to, this is to let you know that yes, you did indeed experience this thing that you are feeling that you did, and it is a valid experience. Where you go from there is up to you. We're following this particular card with the Knight of Cups, and I feel like this is coming in with the message of really tapping into love comes into play along with psychic connection, and I'm not getting a clear answer as far as the connection between the two, because I feel like it depends on each individual experience as far as what that connection may mean. But the concept of psychic ability and love comes to play. Some of you it's one, some of you it's other, some of you it's both. But overall perspective, the Knight has to do with communication, and with this particular card, what I'm feeling, it has to do with thought process, how you are creating the dialogue or the narrative regarding an experience that you had recently. This is something that you have to take in consideration. I feel like you're being told to pay attention to the inner dialogue regarding this, and make sure that you are actively participating in the direction that narration is going, the direction that inner dialogue is going regarding this love and or psychic connection. Whether or not it's combined or not, again, that interpretation is up to you and your personal experience. But there is overall, and I'm not quite sure. I'm not getting a good explanation as to whether or not these two are tied. I feel like it may be, but that's all I'm going to say. But I'm going to say the Knight of Cups is coming through very hard, very strong about interpretation, mental thought, interpretation, narration regarding a love and or psychic connection. And they're just really letting me know that you're being told that you need to make sure that you are actively participating in that narration, that dialogue, and you're playing a part in what trajectory that goes, because how you see, perceive, and define this is going to ultimately guide you in the future wherever this is leading. We're following this with the 8 of Pentacles. Again, this can be separate or combined depending on each person's situation, scenario, or explanation. But the 8 of Pentacles is letting you know that there are things that's waiting for you to do the work to pull in towards you. So what I'm getting from this particular image right away is how she has this stuff on her lap and she's holding one of them. And I just get this overall vision of like scooping in what's there and pulling it, drawing it into you. And for me, this is they're letting me know that the interpretation of this is that there is abundance waiting for you, but you have to do the work of leaning into it and drawing it back towards you. So that is what the 8 of Pentacles is letting me know. This feels very strong. Again, we're talking like the second to the last week of August into the last week of August. So slightly more close to the middle of August than the end of August, but there nonetheless. The World card is the next card that I have in play, and it really is coming through with that overall vibe of completion, but how things are completed. And again, the narration and inner dialogue is coming to play. Like the interpretation of completion is going to be reliant on you, how you perceive it. So when something comes to an end, when it has concluded and it's time to move on, however that is defined by you, your definition of the completion is going to play a part in what next step you take. And so if there's an overall feeling of acceptance of completion, so even though I'm getting the overall sense that even when something is done, there's going to be a time period of refusal to believe that it's over and wanting to continue to focus on it, wanting to put more work in it, to sort of manipulate it to go in a specific direction. And this is all just sort of a forewarning. There's no combined message with this as far as their expectation, as much as they're letting you know that this is something that you're going to face. And so if you don't want to face it, or if you want to change how this is going to be defined for you, or change the perspective of this, the work starts early on. And the starting point for that is you being active in how you participate in the definition of the unfolding of these events, how much you lean into it and draw things that involve this towards you, whatever it is that you're supposed to draw in towards you. And that's all going to play a part in how you define the conclusion when the thing concludes. It's all going to play a part in your perception and how you define it, and how well you're able to accept it and to move on. And this feels like this all kind of has come in some way, shape, or form in that message that you received at one point when you received that message in a dream that I got when I started this particular reading. Finally, we have a book. I feel like this is coming in twofold. One is I'm being reminded about how sometimes for some people reading a book really allows you to sort of relax. Like, reading can be very therapeutic for people. So I'm being told that you need to be doing what you need to do to make sure that you are taking care of yourself properly, giving yourself the right amount of self-care that you need. And also, I feel like there's an element of research in this. And I do feel like it has to do with this, that perspective and that inner dialogue, and how you are actively participating in the definition of the events, and therefore the trajectory of the events once you realize how they're supposed to be defined. But then also, as a result of your knowing that you will experience, it's going to play a part in how you lean into and draw things back into you. And that in turn, as I've already stated, allows it, whenever it comes to conclusion, it will play a part in how you perceive the conclusion, and then come into the next step. I do feel like whatever you experienced as far as that connection, whatever came through to you, and that I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I do feel like this is something that you can tap into again. So the occurrence of it feels very spontaneous, at least for the bulk of you, to the point where it feels like almost all of you, that experience was spontaneous. But you can have a follow-up experience should you pursue it. There comes in the research. Should you pursue and trying to have a follow-up experience that you actually call in, and you are the one who actively participates in it, you can do the research and do that. But this is all kind of, it plays a part. Whatever is going on in your life right now, it plays a part in how you're going to move through it, and how you're going to perceive when things conclude, and how well you accept that conclusion, and therefore how well you're able to move on from whatever this is. All right, Libras, I hope that this reading has given you everything that you were hoping for and more. I hope August ends up being empowering to you. Again, make sure that you check out your sun, moon, and rising for a more well-rounded, generalized reading, and check out the description box below for links to my website and my Etsy shop should you choose for a more personalized reading to your situation. Other than that, have a great month, and I will see you in the next video.